Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this fine Friday for AWT's June event. Welcome to Women in the Workforce, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Part 2 with Diane Kenyon. Part 1, for those of you who didn't get a chance to attend, was part of our May mentoring event. She spoke on this at our May 25th event, and she is doing a continuation of that for us today. I want to start also by thanking our sponsors. Really, AWT, all of what we do is only possible through our sponsors, so I wanted to thank them all. We have Cirrus Logic, Apex Systems, Digital Turbine, PIMCO, Sana, Charles Schwab, Axiom, Clear Data, BB Imaging, Revel IT, FDM, and ShipStation. And specifically today, our sponsor for today's event is Sana. And I will turn it over to Rebecca Mitchell to tell us more about Sana and the awesome things that they do.
Hey guys, I'm Rebecca, so thanks for joining me today. I would love to share a little bit about Sana and get you guys used to or more familiar with our name and what we do. I have a little slide presentation here. If I could share my screen here.
Sure, go for it.
It says I cannot share while the other screen is, or the other.
Oh, I need to stop. Okay.
Yeah, just for a moment, please. Perfect. So everybody can see Sana benefits powered by people who care, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, the first slide that I have that I'm going to share with you is our mission statement. We make quality healthcare understandable, accessible, and very affordable. Not only that, you guys are very, very familiar with, the legacy carriers, Humana, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare. Sana is like the insurance that you guys are used to, but only better. We are built specifically for small businesses, and this is ranging anywhere between as little as 5 employees up to about 300 currently, and we have the best customer satisfaction scores in the industry when it comes to insurance. We're easy to use for human resources toolkits. We make open enrollment a breeze, and you guys usually don't hear that too often, especially when it's dealing with insurance. But this is our Net Promoter Score. So as you can see here, we are ranked one of the best in the industry. And you guys should be familiar with some of these other ones that use the same scoring system as well. We do telehealth. As you guys know, through COVID, this was a huge spike with telehealth, people signing in, not having to go into the office. So we offered this as a free service pre-pandemic, and will continue to do that even after the pandemic. This is just something that we've incorporated in our plans that we feel is very important. You guys are going to be able to have same-day appointments. The doctors that you'll speak with are from the top 50 U.S. medical schools. And prescriptions are sent straight to your pharmacy. And again, there's zero copay to use those telehealth services that we do offer. This is our Sana Care ecosystem. So with all of our plans, we do incorporate tons of free perks and partnerships to utilize for you guys to help keep your expenses low. So I highly suggest that if you do use our services, take advantage of these. There's some great things that we do offer, and specifically to any needs that you might have. Sana is part of the HealthSmart network. We are immediately accessed in over 1.2 million locations here in the U.S. There's no out-of-network fees or costs ever. And so any doctors you guys currently have or that you see or a specialist, you will be able to continue to see them with no problem. Sana, our main thing is to save businesses on their premiums. Your rates are your rates, and they're based only on your employees. So you're not having to, be priced out by others that are in your market or zip code. It's based specifically on your company and the people that would be a part of the benefit package. We work directly with you, but if you do have a broker that you guys have a long-standing relationship with, we can work with them and work in tandem. But we do give you the option to forego that because we are a full service as well. And we do negotiate claims to ensure that you are, paying the most fair price possible. And this is a big thing for us because we want to keep everything at a minimal cost. One of the other great things that we do offer to all of our clients is Mineral, which used to be called Think HR. But what this is a platform that you can log into and see things in live time. You're going to be able to enroll or make QLE changes, live chat with somebody, check your benefits, your claim status, reconcile invoices, add or remove employees with just simple, click of a button. So this is a really great tool, especially for any HR admin. It takes a lot of work off your plate. It looks like our video that I had to share with you guys is not loading, so I will share that link for you guys here in a little bit. It was just a short 1-minute video, kind of give you a little bit more on us, but for some reason it looks like it's loading that page, so I apologize. Oh, here it goes. Maybe. I won't take too much time here if it doesn't load up. Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear it? Hear the sound on that? No?
Oh, any sound?
Went away. Okay. We'll go bypass that and I'll share it at the end so you guys can take a look at that on your own time. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, but that's pretty much all I had for us. But I'm Rebecca. So if you guys had any questions or wanted to learn more, you can certainly message me directly, and I'll post my information here in the chat box for you guys. But yeah, go and check out saunabenefits.com. There's a lot of great information there for you guys as well, just to take a look at. And of course, message me for any questions. So thank you for letting me share. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Let me go back to my screen now, to the right thing again. Now where did Zoom go? Zoom go right over here. All right, thank you, Rebecca. We always do a networking roulette, and we have a total of how many participants today? I think we have under 20, so I don't know that we really need a breakout rooms. But because the meeting is about the source of stress and work and life balance and things like that. So we came up with the question is, what is the source of most of your stress? So do we have a brave volunteer who is willing to speak up and let us know what their greatest source of stress is?
I will. I know the greatest source of my stress. It's usually money and money.
Agreed.
for me, it's work, just trying to balance getting everything done in the time that I want to get it done in and meeting the deadlines with what I want to do. So for me, that's it. Who else?
Hi, I'm Kylie, and I can chime up. Sorry, I don't have my video on. I'm back in my office at a desktop that does not have a camera. But I agree on the money, and on that front, I think it's kind of like a comparison thing, the like stress of like seeing others around you, maybe like achieving certain goals, but also like I'd say like hiring. So my ability to make money and for us to make money. I work on the recruiting side of things, and the market is just so insane right now that I'm really worried about the people on my team burning out, and trying to figure out like how can I keep people motivated and excited to do the work and like kind of make hay while the sun shines, like take advantage of this opportunity so they can meet their goals while also making sure that like they don't feel overwhelmed and stressed and like get on that burnout track, which I think is so easy to do, especially in the hybrid COVID work from home world too.
Yep, and I see Taryn put in the chat time management. I guess that's always a good one, how to balance things and get things done.
Yeah, girl, like I can't tell you how many days of the week I'm like, God, I should have done this. I should have balanced this more. It's constant battle of mine. I lose that battle quite often.
Yeah, I sometimes have a battle with my to-do list. Did it win?
Yeah.
Did I win that day?
That's pretty funny. And I'm going to chime in there too, just because it's like, I feel like I have to start scheduling personal time because there's some personal goals that I want to accomplish. And it's like, I need to just at least maybe even put that on my calendar to make me stop, refocus. This is your chance to go work on you and have some fun. So go do that instead of saying no to your friends. Say, hey, let's get together, or in Zoom, on Zoom or in person. And so scheduling personal time for me.
Yes, I have found that to be hard during the pandemic because you couldn't go, you couldn't do anything. It was very easy to get lost in all that.
Now that I say that, maybe if I would handle that part more, I would have less stress.
All right, anybody else before we let Diane? Kim, yes.
Yeah, for me, it's catching up on camp for the summer for kids camp. I feel kind of like I'm behind, like I can't catch up with everything reopening, and I need to get camp scheduled, and we're already in summer. So I'm kind of lagging behind the camps and what's open and what's not. That kind of thing is stressing me out.
Yes, I had an early doctor's appointment yesterday, and I am out of practice getting myself ready, dressed, and out the door by a certain time in the morning. I felt very stressed yesterday morning going, this used to be every day and you didn't think twice about it.
I think it's really hard coming back, right? Because things you knew before, you're like, oh, are they open? So then you've got to like call or look it up, and are they open? What are they doing? Is that camp, with anything, that's the first question we all have to ask. You want to run, go do something, and you think you're all set, and then you're like, oh wait, are they open? So it just kind of adds that extra level to everything of having to check in, contact, see what's going on.
Yeah, last summer was so unusual, but before that, I felt like I would go into the summer pretty organized.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of still not back. I'm not back in sync with that. And I'm re-entering after being out for a year. So I feel like a double whammy of stress in that area.
Okay, Diane, do you have enough there to?
I think we're good to go.
All right, I will stop sharing so you can start.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diane Kenyon, and I'm an advisory board member. I'm an active member with AWT, have been for 8, 9, 10 years. I quit counting, I think. When you get to double digits, you can do that. I'm excited to be here. I did do part 1 of this series in the mentoring event, and want to take a deeper dive. So if you haven't listened to the first one, you can go back. There's a lot of data and numbers there. And I did not do a full refresh, but I can tell you in the 2 weeks since that, or 3 weeks since that event, the data has changed. It's constantly changing. The numbers are, about 2.3 million women have left the workforce since the beginning of the pandemic. And I have to give my disclosure before I leave this screen. And that is, I work in tech. I'm very active in tech in Austin and have been since I moved here 27 years ago. And I am biased. I want people and women to be in the workforce, especially in the technical field. However, all of us make individual decisions, and I kind of want to look at both sides of the equation, but I may have a bias for staying in the workforce as opposed to leaving the workforce. And, the reality is we all know it's a struggle, and the struggle is just changed. It's always been a struggle as mothers, as head of households, as full-time employees. There's always been this struggle, and people may say balance, and it, to me, through the pandemic, it seems much more like a tug of war. So for our agenda, we're going to talk about, we all feel, and as women, and I know Kevin's on the phone too, so hopefully I don't offend you, but we all feel like we should be doing it all. So we'll do a brief, I introed myself. I have one other comment. We'll talk about some of the stressors, some of the decisions that need to be made, exploring some options and what support is needed, because Austin Women in Technology has always been a strong network of women and provided support for others in a time of need. And you need to know that it's okay to ask. It's okay to get on the Slack channel and ask. It's okay to reach out to the board and say, can somebody help me with this? And so I just want to make sure that people have the support they need as they try to make the decisions. For my intro, the one thing I wanted to build on from the stressors, and they are from all over, and the picture kind of shows that. We're all trying to balance a lot right now. And I heard some people say schedule personal time. And I will tell you, I probably am not very good about scheduling personal time, but I have learned that if I block my calendar at work from 5 to 7 every day, less people try to add a meeting at 5 or 5:30 on my calendar. And so that's been very beneficial. And I just wanted to share that tip. As we think about stressors, they're all over the place. It's the family, it's the work, it's the childcare, it's the schooling, and hopefully the homeschooling situation is getting better. It's the household chores. A lot of people have had to step back in the workforce because of elder care. I think the number for elder care is like 2.1 million people, 6.3 million people for childcare reasons have stepped out of the workforce. And then the item of self-care. And I don't think self-care is really a stressor, but it's something we know we have to be healthy, we have to be well so that we can do all the other things we want to do. I think one of the biggest challenges that women are facing or parents are facing is making a decision between their children and their paycheck. And that's, got to be extremely challenging and hard, and, making a decision between your children and 2 paychecks, so when you have help in the home. So as we look at decisions that we have to make, this is a recap from session 1, but some people are out there making solo decisions, and hopefully you in the room that are working with employees, mentoring others, you're thinking about this from their view and their eyes and what you can share. Others have support systems, they live in they have a spouse, they have family members close by, and other people are involved in helping make their decisions. You know, some decisions we make will be short-term and some will be long-term. And you don't always know which ones you're making, but you kind of have an idea. As you think about the emotions of all this, you know, you're being asked to make a head choice versus a heart choice. And, you know, I may love my job, but I think I love my family more, right? And then as you think about the decisions to make, areas that we need to open up and expand, and where I'm going to spend the most of the day is on options and on ask, because, you know, the way it was isn't always the way it will be. When we think about corporations, and most of us are employed in a corporation, you know, there's kind of three aspects to look at. There's policy, and you see Apple and you see Google and you see other companies coming out with, well, when we return to work, our policy is X. Policies are pretty hard to get exceptions for. So as corporations have policies, you in your corporation specifically your workplace has a policy. You want to know what it is as it relates to flexibility, part-time work, kind of what the policy says. You also want to ask if the corporation's going to be evaluating and revising the policy, because we're seeing a lot of companies do that. In addition to what you see at work, you see what's practiced and you see what's precedence. Before we came home, there were teams that I worked with that were work from home on Friday. So they kind of had a precedence. I don't know what their how they did that, but that was their practice and that was their precedence. So there's things you can see and understand in the workforce that are being practiced and being precedented that can help you as you think about your options and your ask. And sorry. So I kind of put together a decision tree, and hopefully you guys can see this. And it has a lot of questions on it, but I think these are the questions, maybe not always the sequence of questions for each person, but it kind of starts with the money aspect. And that was the first stressor that came out is, do I have to work? And for many of us, that's the answer is yes. For some people, the answer is no, but they still want to work. They went to school, they got their degree, they love to work, they love getting outside the house, having adult conversations. And so, you know, in both cases, if you want to work or if you have to work, you know, it's important to step back and look at what support do I need? And I think that's where it helps to get creative. It helps to think about, you know, do I need help finding different daycare options? Do I need help? Do I need more flexibility at work? Where is it I need? Where can I get, where is there give and take? And I think if we come out of the pandemic with the same expectation of life is going to be like before the pandemic, we're wrong. Businesses aren't going to be the same. Work's not going to be the same. Support systems aren't going to be the same. There's different options, and we want to make sure that we look at those. I think you have to ask the question, how much do I have to work? And, you know, we all know there's part-time work, there's flex work, there's gig work, there's full-time work, there's corporation work, there's a lot of options. And, you know, how much do I have to work, or how much money do I have to make, right? If that's a stressor. The third question is, do I need more flexibility? And, you know, I think it's important as you think about flexibility is, you know, is that at home? Is that with some of your support system, or is that with schooling, or is that with work? And if it's at work, you know, what the question is, can my current role and my company provide what I need? And I put the first option answer here as I don't know, because I feel like a lot of folks that are wanting flexibility don't know. They really don't know what their company can do or will do or might do or won't do. And, you know, as we think about policy, as we think about practices, as we think about precedents, as we think about everyone revising how things are going to work in the new return to work space at most technology companies, you you know, are they changing those policies and how much flexibility will there be? So if the company can do what I need, how do I optimize this? If they can't provide what I need, I want to make sure I'm sure. And, you know, should I find another role? And if the answer is no, I shouldn't find another role right now, you know, how do I make other adjustments? The other, at the very bottom of the decision tree is, I don't have to work and I don't want to work now. And then there's another question there is, do I want or need to work later? And, you know, what does reentry look like? How do I want to spend my time? And, you know, reentry is a concern for many people, and some of the resources I provided are associated with people that have stepped out of the workforce and want to come back in. So I want you to each think about some outside of the box thinking. You know, in the ideal world, like, what is one thing that you'd really like to be easier? Take less time, be less stressful. One thing, like if you could make one change today, what would it be? So think about not what was pre-pandemic, but what can be. As you think about those, think about what can you delegate? And we all think about delegation as that activity that happens at work when you have direct reports, but it's also that activity that happens at home when my son is here and he's a teenager, and you know, I need him to take out the trash, or I need him to do his own laundry, or I need to, you know, him to take on more work. I wouldn't say delegation is a thing that we really do with our spouses or our partners. That's probably more of a negotiation, but you know, in the pandemic, a lot of the housework, a lot of the childcare, a lot of the elder care has definitely fell on the female and or on one party within the household. And, you know, you might want to look at other options or other splits of how that's done. And then you also can look at what you can outsource. And when we say outsource, a lot of times we think that's a lot of money. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I can tell you that through the pandemic, several people I know, including myself, have ordered things online, and we've had it shipped. We've had people pull groceries off the store shelves for us, and we've picked up our groceries. That's outsourcing part of your work and part of your time. So do you want to go back where you're making 2 runs to the grocery store every week, or do you want to continue online? You know, those are things that we can outsource at a pretty low cost, where we can get some time back in our day. When you think about options for childcare, you know, we had something before, but, you know, is it preschool? Is it daycare? Is it a nanny? Is it a sitter? Is it a parent? Is it a grandparent? Is it a live-in? Is it something close to home, close to work? Is it a neighbor? I mean, I just encourage people to really think that outside the box thinking as to how can we get creative? What works best for me? How do I see different options than I may have seen before? So I included a little spreadsheet, and it'll be in the deck that comes out, but, you know, I kind of put all the different areas of things where we spend our time. And I guess self-care is probably in that other bucket. You know, but where were you spending your time pre-COVID? Where are you spending it now? Where are you spending it ideal? And this is just a sample tool that could be used if somebody's really trying to break it down and look at where they need to make some changes. Oops, sorry. So in addition to the companies working on their policies around return to work, number of days in the office, offering full-time, part-time options, in the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of updates coming out around new company benefits. You know, key benefits are expanding and shifting. And, you know, we want to look at, what is the company doing? If you're not asking, go ask your employers, what are we looking at our benefits? Are we adding anything? Are we going to provide any different options as it relates to childcare? Without the care for our loved ones, people can't work. The future of work and care is flexible, and you need to know what your company is going to provide or not provide. And if you're looking at other employers instead of your own company, you want to really do some reading and some research and know what questions to ask. Are you guys going to supplement, are you looking at benefits to supplement childcare? That's not an unrealistic question to ask. At this time, a lot of companies are doing different things. Mental health is essential. It's essential for all of us every day when we get up to have good mental health, but mental health services are also essential, and more companies are adding those benefits. And that's it. When you're stressed and maxed and you think you've looked at all your options, if you don't come back to us at AWT and get some support, reach out to your company and leverage their services available. The next bullet, and there's an article link in the resources on this, is around what are you willing to negotiate for? And it really started out, as I read the article, I was like, I'm not sure it applies because it was talking about money. But at the end of the day, if you're good at your job and you bring value to your company, you should be able to articulate that and negotiate for the flexibility that you need or want for at least a period of time to pilot. And I will say, if it's an exception to the policy, it's going to be a lot harder than if it's within the policy. But, the research just shows that women in general don't negotiate as often as men. In fact, they say 20% of women, I have to put my readers back on, sorry. 20% of the women never negotiate at all. And there's preparation steps you can go through on this. You can, you want to do your research, you want to be prepared. You want to have positive options for them, and a lot of times it's negotiating, but it's negotiating with options. When it comes to money, you're like, I'm looking for a comp package of X, my base salary minimum should be Y. You don't always have to say, I need, a base salary of a certain amount. You can look at bonus options and other options. But knowing what you want and why, thinking through acceptable alternatives, and then being able to frame those in such a way that people are willing to have a discussion. And I think when we think about negotiation, a lot of times we have an ask and we expect yes or no answer. And I want you to think about negotiation as, I want to lay down the framework of what I need and why, what value I bring, and what I'd like to discuss, and what the options are. So instead of walking away from the negotiation with a yes or no answer, you walk away with the person being more educated on what you're looking for, and hopefully they're invested in your future at the company, and they're going to go think about it, have some discussions, see what they can do, what they can't do, if a policy exception is allowed or not allowed, and then come back with maybe not, yes, you get option A, or yes, you get option B, but let's talk about option C, which we haven't talked about. Based on what I hear and what's important to you, I think this might work. And that's how we're going to get to the place where we individually need to be if we need flexibility in order to stay with our jobs. So my questions to you are, what are you willing to ask for? And what support do you need? This is my sample conversation that I drafted for y'all, just because I feel like it would be beneficial. You know, you want to start with some background. I've been with this company for 5 years. I've been in this role. I bring a lot of value. You can give your value statement if you want. At that point, you can insert it later. My situation is, you know, as you know, I'm a single mom. I don't have any support that lives in town. I'm trying, you know, my 8-year-old has school and childcare, and I'm trying to juggle it. I've been juggling it. I've been doing homeschooling. I appreciate everything the company's done to allow me to work from home so far. Then I would like to discuss some options. And I think the word discuss is important. I'd like to discuss the possibility, you know. Possibility is another soft word that makes it seem like you're not negotiating, you're not demanding a 6-hour workday. You're exploring a 6-hour workday. Are you open for me taking my lunch hour from 3 to 4 daily so I can pick up my kids? Standardly, you know, we're 8 to 5 and lunch is 11 to 12, right? Everybody knows the schedule. Is it okay for my schedule to be different? I notice Susie drops her kids off in the morning and she comes in, you know, she comes in at 9 and leaves at 5. So can I work 8 to 3 and then 4 to 5? You know, is that an option? There are several moms on our team. Are you open to helping us find some job share opportunities? Maybe I don't need to work full time, but 3/4 time is pretty good. And if 3 of us work 3/4 time, you know, how does that work into your schedule? Is there some way we can create a community and create support and make sure that we have your support as a manager? When I return to office, I understand the company wants to be flexible. Flexibility is a key word I'm hearing a lot. You see it in the articles, you see it in the write-ups. It's an expectation of the people. And my thought on that is it's an expectation because when we needed you to go home and you went home and you worked from home, and we didn't tell you that we didn't change the dress code, and we didn't tell you that we didn't change your work hours, and we didn't micromanage you to make sure you were working the exact hours that you would have been working in the office, and you were treated like an adult and you were given flexibility. And now, even though we didn't implicitly say that, now when we think about returning to work, we want to say it and take it away. And so we've been granted luxury and flexibility, and we want to maintain part of that. So, you know, what is important to you? What do you want to ask for? I understand the company wants to be flexible. I think I've seen some updates on where they're moving with the policy. I've seen some updates on what the options are for working from home. However, my situation is a little bit different. Would you consider this? By asking questions, by giving them ideas, by giving them options, and by having a discussion, you're going to be able to explore more opportunities, explore more options, and get to a better solution for your individual case, your individual situation. The last slide, this slide is the resources slide. And there's a lot of they're all linked on here, and I will make sure that you guys get it. There's a couple I want to point out. So the Mom Project and the Motherhood on the Resume is for people that have taken time off and want to get back in the workforce, and it helps you identify how you should get those skills on your resume, and there's some support areas there. There's a Texas Workforce Commission on Child Care Industry Partnership that's doing some funding to help companies have money to help their employees pay for childcare. So I included that link. Funding will likely end on that, but I think a lot of their learnings will carry over into some of the benefits that some of the companies offer around childcare. The title of my presentation triggered should I stay or should I go, triggered people to say, well, should I stay in this job or should I leave this job? And the driver's exercise is a link to a resource on the UT website. And it kind of lets you prioritize what's driving you to make a change if you were to change jobs. And it just helps you kind of prioritize what's most important to you as you're looking for a new job. At the very bottom here is my name, my email address, and my phone number. If you call me and I don't recognize your number, I may not answer, but you're more than welcome to leave a message. You're more than welcome to email. You're more than welcome to text me. I do a lot of coaching for people that are in transition. I am avid that AWT is a support group for women who have challenges and needs, and I want to make myself available to help. And with that, I'm going to stop and we're going to open it up for Q&A. There's two other slides on here. One is a statement about workforce, and it correlates this to a time when a lot of men left the workforce, and I thought it was interesting. And then just a document, another worksheet document that you could use if you were evaluating options and finding examples. So that's in the deck.
Awesome. Thank you, Diane. I just want to say I really liked your slide about where you had the pre-COVID and the pandemic and then the ideal. I think that is a very helpful tool as opposed to a pros and cons list, which we're kind of used to. So I think giving us the third option is great. So thank you very much for that. That I think I'm going to start using more frequently. We have one question that has come up in the chat. If you have more questions, please pop them into the chat, and then we can ask them, or we can unmute and ask Diane. The question we have is from Kim, and it says, I'm re-entering after a year, and in the interview process, is it better to cover these questions in the interview or wait until after there is a job offer or after starting the job? So when do you start those discussions?
So I would say if they bring it up, you answer the question through the process. If they don't bring it up, once you have an offer, then you have somewhere to negotiate. So until there's an interest in an offer, there's not really I don't know that the discussion would be as welcome. However, if you're talking to the talent acquisition person, not the hiring manager, and they're saying, this is for a full-time position, and you can say, you can ask questions at that point. Do you guys also hire part-time positions? Do you, as COVID has changed many things for everyone, kind of how are your policies? What are your flexibility? Are people working in the office? What does that look like? So you're not asking for what you want. You're asking to be curious about what they're doing so that you can be better prepared when you want to ask for what you want. Does that help, Kim?
That's great. Thanks.
I see we have a couple people who are maybe in the talent acquisition world, and as things are kind of opening back up, I know schools and things like that haven't really quite reopened, but I think there are going to be a lot of people that have taken some time off, either because they needed to care for somebody or their job just disappeared, right? And they couldn't find anything else or whatever. So I think you're going to be in a much bigger category of people than before. So I think sometimes maybe how you overcome that hurdle or what your story is might be a little bit different. Do we have people who are here that are in talent acquisition who've seen some of that or can also chime in?
Well, I'll start because I hire a lot of people and I see a lot of resumes, and it was really interesting to me because recently I hired a new contractor and they had a lot of breaks on their resume, but I didn't really care because I cared about what they knew and what they could do, right? And then when I sent their resume to one of my peers, they were like, well, can I get explanation for all the breaks? And I was like, I'm sure I can, but it wasn't important to me. And so I think you see there's different schools of thought on that as far as how the breaks show up on the resume. In general, you know, I'm looking, if I ask, I'm looking for a 1 word or 1 sentence answer. I don't need the whole story. I had an opportunity to take some time off and help my dad. You know, I needed to provide elder care for someone in my family. You know, the more you provide, sometimes the more damaging it is. If they want more information, they can always ask, but I highly recommend to try to get that 1 sentence answer.
Great advice. Hey,
And to Diane, I was going to say, Diane, that I agree with you on that. I've also had people specifically put in their resume the reason for the gap, so that way there's no questions asked. And that way people like talent acquisition or the hiring managers are both able to review that in advance and understand it. Because each person is different about what they want in a person's resume, and it's not all picture perfect. So, and especially right now, I think more and more people are being a little bit more flexible on what that looks like.
I agree, Taryn. I'm seeing, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I've been in staffing for 11 years and I've never seen the market the way it is today. I think everything opening back up in early 2021 has, I think companies are now starting to just become a little bit more flexible and on the reasons for leaving. I think if your reason for leaving is I didn't get along with my boss and are transitioning from jobs every single year, like, I feel like people aren't as flexible on that. But if it's, I had to take care of someone, I had to finish my degree, I think I'm just seeing people becoming a lot more flexible. And I also see a lot of people in the talent acquisition HR space, like advocate, like trying to work with their CEOs and COOs to like get them to agree to a hybrid work model, because a lot of companies aren't, but they're like losing people because of it. So I think it's a really, really good time for job seekers right now. The market is just, especially in Austin.
I know cover letters aren't often read, but I've also seen the gaps in employment, you know, explained in a 1 or 2 sentence in the cover letter or the email with the resume.
I was going to say, I have shared with a few recruiters and hiring managers that I left during the pandemic to homeschool my son or to help with his homeschool. And people have been really supportive and really understanding about that explanation.
Any more questions? Joy's good. All right, let me start presenting again. We'll go over.
So I have one more comment, and that is one of the stats that I shared earlier is that 1 in 4 women are considering leaving the workforce or not, or staying in the same level and role as they are today. And that's 25% of us. That's one, you know, count us, there's 17. So that's 4 people on this screen right now. And that's going to hurt our economy. That's going to hurt our diversity. It's going to hurt our companies. And so I just want to close by saying thank you all for joining. Thank you all for thinking about the ideas and the options. Share this information, this content with as many people as you want. And that includes my phone number and my email address, because we need to show up. We need to continue to grow with our organizations. And whether that's for you now or that's for you later, we want to make sure you have the support you need.
Thank you very much, Diane. As we start wrapping things up, AWT does have a couple of volunteer positions open. We are looking for a virtual programs volunteer. That is the person who runs the meetings. And if you come to our regular meetings, it's Denise has taken on a new role, and we're trying to have somebody take over that role for her. Speaker lead assistance is always helpful, and also social media volunteer. And if you are interested in joining the board or a leadership role on AWT, we are going to be later in the summer electing new board roles. Please contact Heather at heather@awtaustin.org. She will be the incoming president, so she will help you out with that. Let you know what opportunities we have. Next slide is our next event, which will be sponsored by Charles Schwab. So I'm sure Diane will be back again. Our topic for that event is mentorship and allyship as a means to network and navigate your career. I think that's something that's a topic that's been near and dear to a lot of our hearts, especially during the pandemic, because we can't have those accidental conversations and things like that in the workplace. So we've had to be much more intentional and purposeful about that. So I'm very excited about this topic. That event will be Wednesday, July 21st from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It will be a virtual event. And membership, Taryn, you still on? You want to give us the membership?
Yeah, sure. I think most of us on here are members, but for those that are not, just wanted to give you guys an overview of what we do at some of these events. Both, hopefully, some coming up will be a little bit more person, but obviously we are continuing to do our virtual events. But we do meet at least once a month where we host for members and non-members alike, including stuff like we mentioned in the past, intelligent conversations, networking events, happy hours. We have fundraisers for Girl Start and Dress for Success, and then other tech talks and expos and conferences that we have coming up. And as a AWT member, you receive free events right now to all the events throughout the year, including the evening and lunchtime events. And you'll be able to utilize our Slack channel for further networking and posting of jobs. I can definitely help get you aligned a little bit further if you become a member to learn a little bit more about that Slack channel. And then as far as just membership fee goes, it's $60 for a year for members. And if you are a student, it is at a discounted price of $30 for the entire year. Yeah, you see my email there if you want to get introduced to this membership and learn more about it. I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. Yeah, I look forward to hearing from anybody.
All right, thank you very much, Taryn. And for those of you who have attended our events in the past, you know, we like to do who's looking and who's hiring. I see Sharon is already ahead of the curve and already posting things in the chat. Please, you're welcome to unmute and say if you're hiring, who and what you're looking for, the roles and that kind of thing. And if you're looking, please, you know, unmute. Also put everything in the chat because we do capture all of this and we put it out in our recap email. So we have about 5 minutes and I can stay a little bit later. I don't have a meeting at 1. So if we need to stay on to capture those things in the chat, please start popping them in there. And who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead first because I have a couple that I just want to throw out there, and I'll put this in the chat. I'm hiring a senior manager over business analyst group, strictly in the finance sector. Also, I'm hiring a senior data analyst and a digital product specialist. So I've got more, but definitely these are more prominent ones right now for me.
I can hop in. I'm with Sana Benefits, the sponsor for today, and we are hiring software engineers, product managers right now for our technical team. And we'd really love to have some women on our engineering team. So I'd love all of your help spreading our network there. That's always been a challenge for us is bringing in top female talent on the technical side. We are going to be attending the Hacker X event in a couple of weeks, so maybe I'll see some of you there. But we're also hiring for customer success roles and member advocate positions, really operations and finance heavy roles as well. I'd love to connect with anybody on LinkedIn, and I'll drop our job board and my email into the chat here.
Awesome. Anybody else want to unmute?
Yes, I would love to. At Beacon Hill Staffing Group, we're hiring for account executives and recruiters internally on our team, as well as many positions at our clients, but really I'm focused on finding recruiters and people with experience or without experience who just love, you know, doing professional matchmaking or want to learn how.
Who's next? Okay, anybody looking? I see Joy nodding her head. There you go.
Yes, I'm always, I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, and, but also looking for clients always, but also perhaps a full-time position, doing a program manager or director position for DEI. And I put everything in the chat as well, my LinkedIn.
Anyone else? Kim?
I'm looking, like I said before, I've just kind of recently started looking. I'm a product manager, and I can also do some process and project management. And I put my information in the chat.
Great. Anyone else? Debbie, I saw you put something in there, right?
I did. And Insperity has a job board. It includes those jobs within the internal Insperity system, as well as our clients that are listed on there, part of our client offer. So feel free to check it out, see if something's for you.
Great.
So Kim Mullins, definitely connect with me. Let's talk about some options at Schwab for you. And Joy Wiggins, we need to connect on cover letters, because I saw your comment and I have some tips.
Diane's great. She's a great resource. We are so lucky at AWT to have Diane. Some of our best advice we get, it comes from AWT, and she's just been such a tremendous support. So I want to say a big thank you to Diane from the bottom of my heart for all the wonderful things you do. And I got a lot out of today's event too. Do we have anything else before we close today?
I did want to plug my boyfriend because he's actually looking for a digital project manager role. His contract right now wraps up the end of this month, and I want to make sure that he stays here in the US. He is a Canadian citizen. Otherwise, he will have to go back to Montreal. So but he is a very intelligent man and would be great at any organization here. So anybody have any opportunities, happy to hear.
I do know Athena Health. My husband works for Athena Health, and he is, I do know they're hiring, or they're trying to, but as we mentioned earlier, the job market in Austin's pretty crazy. So they're trying to hire, and I know they have everything from engineering to product and everything available too. So I'll pop that in the chat before I close out. Yeah, and Athena Health is a great organization. And they're actually they're great for women leadership. They have several women directors and women engineering managers and things like that. So it is a good place for women to work. Anything else?
We have 1 minute left, and Kevin has not said anything.
Okay, Kevin, you're up. You get the last minute.
Well, great. Thank you. I know Rebecca at the beginning kind of kicked us off and told you guys about Sauna. Do appreciate that, just the partnership with Emmy and Joy and the rest of the Awesome Women in Tech team. That's just been helping us the last couple of months. So totally excited and grateful that we get to join you. We will be joining you guys later on in the year at another event that we're working with Emmy getting coordinated. And later in the year, we are hoping that maybe we can even do it in person. We can get all together, something to eat, have a drink or something like that. So we'll be excited to be working with you again. And yeah, just thank you all for having us.
Thank you for sponsoring. Thank you to you and Rebecca and Michaela who've all come and joined us today to help support AWT and Diane's great topic. Okay.
Thanks everyone.
Have a great day and a great weekend.
You too.
You too.